How did you first meet up with Natalie?
Friends of ours had just bought a condo, and they'd actually been to one of the home buyers workshops that they run, and so they convinced us that that was a good idea. So we actually went to one of the home buyers workshops and got introduced to Natalie there.
What was the first thing you did with Natalie to start off the buying process, the first buying process?
Well, we met with Natalie on that night, and she'd suggested that we come in for a consultation and talk to her about what we could afford around, because at the time we weren't sure if we could afford anything that was worth buying. So we went to the consultation at their office in the beach, and she had already run through our finances, so we knew how much money we could potentially borrow, and so she showed us a bunch of different places and on her system, and then started showing us places in the neighbourhoods, and before we knew it, we found the place that we liked.
So what were the biggest home buying concerns you had before meeting with Natalie for the first home?
Well, we weren't sure if we were even in a position to buy, so that was the first step. And then when we found out we were, it was very exciting.
Well, financial was our biggest thing, because we were paying rent, and we weren't sure if we were going to be staying in the city, but the financial situation, because we were both students at one stage or another during our time in our first condo, so that was part of it, and part of it is just all of the hidden details. You see a lot of the TV shows where people have bought a house and then they find out about the fine print, and so we were worried a little bit about that. We didn't know everything there was to know, and Natalie was really good at walking us through all of that fine print and making everything really clear and simple for us, and she did a lot of the hard work. She walked us through the buying process, and she never pressured us. She
wasn't pushy about it either. She just sort of took us to a few places and said, well, if you want to.
And she was very upfront about the fact that with our budget and with our ideal situation, because we had very little money and we wanted to live downtown Toronto, so she was very realistic by saying, listen, this is what you can afford, and she would show us some places that weren't up to our standards, and we had to adjust our expectations a little bit, and we did, so we wound up finding a place in a neighbourhood that we hadn't really considered before.
Yeah, and because we were originally looking for a one-bedroom with den, and we ended up with just a one-bedroom, but an older building with a larger one-bedroom than the newer condos. So we found out pretty quickly, for our lifestyle, needing to find room for our books and our piano, that the older buildings actually suited us better. Having too many windows didn't work. So we went to the home buyers workshop in December, and I think we went out and started looking sort of January 5th, mid-January. And we actually ended up sort of purchasing at the beginning of February. So it was pretty quick. But we went out, the first day we went out, she took us to probably 3 or 4 different places. And
it's a really personal sort of hands-on experience. She picked us up in her car. We don't drive, and so she'd pick us up and we'd drive along, and she'd chat and tell us about her dog and her work, and she really felt like a friend. And so going along into those places, and she was very candid with us. She'd walk into a place and go, "Oh no, this place isn't right," or she'd point out the positives of a place, and things that we'd walk into a place that would look beautiful, and we'd think, "Oh, this is great," and then she'd say, "Yeah, but look at the windows. See, the windows haven't been replaced, and you have a look at the moulding and things like." And so she has a very good eye for knowing what to look for to make sure that the place you're buying is up to scratch. And so that experience was very good. And we learnt a lot. Just even though we were only on the market for a couple of weeks, we learnt a lot.
Great. Okay, so then you bought again.
Yes.
And that was, I guess, a little easier the second time round, just because it was you've been through the process once. So
Yeah.
what was scary about it and exciting about it? What was different?
Well, going from a condo to a house so that we had room to grow for our family, so that was different. And then in order to afford, a house, we had to, again, leave our neighborhood and explore. We really didn't know where we were going to end up because we knew we needed sort of 3 bedrooms, a little yard, space for a family. And if this, we weren't going to move again. We were only in the condo for 3 years, and we knew the next place that we bought wasn't going to be just for 3 years. We were hoping it would be for, 10, a little bit longer. So we didn't know where we were going to be, and so Natalie was very, very patient, and it was a longer process looking. So one day we went out and looked at places in Scarborough. One day we went out and looked at places in North York. One day we went out and she took us everywhere. Poor girl.
Well,
Because we really didn't know. We didn't know what our money would get us, right?
Absolutely. So, and Natalie never said no. If you say, well, what, I know you've been looking diligently for us in Scarborough because we told you to, but how about we look in the West End now? And she would go, okay, that's fine. She would never. You never got the sense that she felt we were wasting her time, and that was always really nice because she knows, she's very aware of how tough a decision it is to, and how big a decision it is to make.
Yeah, I mean, our experience with Natalie and with Remax was really fantastic. It was better than we could ever have hoped. We've bought a condo and a house, and the first condo, or first place that our son came home to after he was born, and first place where he's had his own bedroom. So we feel very very fond of the process because it's allowed our family to grow and expand. And Natalie Lynch was very much part of that.